have you ever thought how much communication is important to your life and your job? And what if communication is so important to your life that if you don't practice, you are even negatively it's even negatively impacting you to achieve your professional goals or your biggest dreams? I learned through the hardest way that communication is very important for myself, even though I've been ignoring for a long time. And I remember that since I was a little kid, I was in the kindergarten back where I was born in Brazil, that one day my mother was going to pick me up, and my mother that is very different from myself, like she's a small lady, always smiling with a soft voice. But that day I noticed that something was going on because she was discussing something with my teacher, and she was with a very concerning expression. And then after this conversation, I remember that they came to me, my mother and my teacher, and said, "Enio, you're not interacting with your colleagues. You're always very closed, not playing with them, so you need to socialize more with them. So what if you invite them to go over our house so you can play more after school, these kind of things?" So I remember that I didn't give much attention to that, even though I accept the idea. I actually had fun. And fast forwarding until I graduated from business school, even though I had this clear hint that I should improve more sociability, communication skills, I didn't give much attention to improve that until it started to really cause me some negative impact, especially when I start to work and when I was being promoted to management position. And I remember very well that my first promotion was in a consulting firm, and this started to be a very big shock for myself, because in consulting you are assessed by how many new sales or new business you bring to the company. And obviously sales skills was not my strength, actually it was my weakness. So that was when I started to get really concerned and seek for advice. So I looked for recommendations from people that I admired that were good at communication. I looked for trainings, but it wasn't a specific book that gave me some good insights on how to focus and improve more effective communication. The name of this book is The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. So some of you already read, right, this book? And there was a specific chapter in this book that was dedicated to communication, that taught me that if you focus on 3 simple steps, you can make sure that at least you're going to improve a lot the relationship with the other, and eventually even close a new deal or business with them. So step number 1 is be open. So every time you have a conversation with someone, you need to be open to really have a good and friendly conversation with the end goal to have a good result. Number 2 is seek to understand first, then to get understood. And this is very important, because every time we are very willing to talk first, put our ideas, our problems first, and then maybe listen and understand the other. And the third step, and this is the most important one, is look for synergy, which means that once you very clearly understood the problem of the others, and you also expressed your point of view, you work together within in order to create a solution or a discussion that's good for both of you. And by this way, you're going to create a good relationship with this person, because you both will realize that individually you would not achieve some conclusion that you work together. So because of these advices, after that, I started to apply on my conversation as much as possible. Obviously, I still didn't master on that, but I felt that in terms of quality, I improved a lot, especially in my work through meetings, negotiations, these kind of things. And my key message is that if it worked for me, that I was a really introverted person, it can work for you as well. So even if you consider yourself a great communicator, if you focus on these 3 steps, it can improve a lot your game on this ability.